just start. So we had conversations around the dinner table about, electricity. Did your parents say to you, it doesn't grow on trees, money doesn't grow on trees, and turn off the electricity and all of that?
If I left the light on downstairs, my dad would come into my room at like 2 a.m.,
Right?
wake me up and be like, go to the kitchen downstairs in your pajamas and turn off the light. And I'm like, you just came from there. He's like, well, electricity isn't free. So even if I'm out of my fence, he called me back, you left the light on, come back home. And I'm just like, so I learned pretty quickly that electricity is not free.
Right.
I'm trying to tell my partner and my kid that as well, but she just loves leaving all the lights on.
Yeah, because it's dark otherwise. But what my parents used to do is put the bill on the table and be like, this is what it costs us. So because I'm blessed with having 2 brothers, and the 3 of us were involved in family financial conversations. So we'd go to the supermarket every once in a while, and my parents would give us a shopping list, and they'd give us whatever, a $50 note, right? I grew up in Australia. They'd give us a $50 note and go, whatever's left over, you can keep. And what it does in the supermarket is it makes you think, oh, do I need the Heinz ketchup, or can I go for the home brand stuff? So it just gets your brain thinking. And of course, to have, $2 afterwards, very exciting because you can buy some sweets. But we were like under 10 doing that. So it's just about starting to get those conversations going and removing the fear factor from money. People have this like approach avoidance with money. Everybody wants it, but nobody really fully knows how to use it until they spend some time doing it. We are not born with this skill. We're just not. So the sooner you start, the better. And there's little things you can do. Don't have to start with pensions. In fact, don't start with pensions. It's a terrible idea.
But how do adults who are not good with money themselves have those conversations with their kids?
And that's where the trick is, right? So one of my ambitions with my company, with Black Bullion, is that we become redundant, which, by the way, you don't hear a lot of businesses saying. But in my wildest dreams, I would love for the next, 2 generations of students, young people at university, to gain the skills that they need to then be able to pass them on. Because my mum's mum was not financially literate. So my mother had to become financially literate. And as a consequence, I now teach it. So in 2 generations, you've shifted the finances of a family. So how can we get, adults, let's call them adults. I'll be, specific about the categories. Adults who've got kids, get them involved in some of these ideas. You can learn, you can read, there's YouTube, there's so many places now. There's no dearth of information. There really isn't. Some of it's not particularly engaging.
That's a problem.
But there's no dearth of information. So how do you, we were talking influencers before, right? Who do you listen to? Where do you go? Where do you start? Budget. Make sure you've got a little bit of money left over. Keep your debt low. Start saving. When you've got enough savings, start investing. That's the entire journey of money. It's not any more complicated than that.
But there's so much information, it does get complicated. Especially if you're a student. When I was a student twice, you just get hit with like credit cards through the door. They're like, oh, do you want to get your credit card? I was like, sure, free money, why not? And that was a bad mistake because I went on holiday and spent it all.
Of course.
And then you get like, oh, invest in this, invest in that. And you're like a student who might not have a good financial understanding. And instead of opening a savings account or doing an ISA, the first thing you do is, oh, I'll buy these stocks, or I'll buy this crypto, or I'll do this because an influencer or a company has reached out to you, and you're like, that makes sense, why not? And then, it's kind of hard to know where to start by going online.
100%. And one of the things, again, we're constantly trying to encourage people is A, read the small print, B, assume that if it's too good to be true, it is. And I'm forever saying to students, if I drove up a Porsche outside and it looked perfect, and I was like, you can have this for 50 quid. You'd know something was wrong, right? Because it doesn't pass the smell test. You'd know. Well, you'd like to think you'd know.
I'd probably still take it, to be fair. For 50 quid, I'd probably still take it.
But you'd know.
Where is this Porsche? That's what I was thinking.
Where is this Porsche?
Just outside the door. But you'd know. Your smell test would be like, something's dodgy. But if somebody says, oh, buy this crypto and it'll go up 1,000% in a week, somehow people don't equate that with, well, hang on a second, something doesn't feel right. So that smell test gets developed over time. And that's why learning about finances when you're a kid, at the dinner table, at school, at university, is such a great time. Early things have huge impact later in your life, right? So a plane that is off, I'm going to get this wrong and somebody will no doubt fact check me, but if a plane is off by 1 degree, then after 16 miles, you're 1 mile off course, right? If you start at the beginning, because the distance starts to do that. Why can't we do that positively? Why can't we shift people's trajectory early in a positive direction? So start saving early, start putting away a little bit of money, start reading about investments, start reading some books. There's so much knowledge out there, like grab some of it.
That was a clip from our full-length interview with Vivi Friedgut. If you want to watch the full episode, you can watch it right here.